Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very last Staying in the Conversation episode of 2024. I cannot believe that is the end of this year already, or coming up to it anyways. It's not quite there yet. We haven't reached Christmas just yet, but it is the very last Staying in the Conversation because in it's 2 weeks' time. Yeah, in 2 weeks' time it will be the new year. So from today, in 2 weeks' time, it will be the brand new year, and that will be the next time we have another conversation. Let's see what happens then. So for today, I have prepared a little something. So I'm going to read from here, and then I'm going to expand on what exactly it is I mean by everything I've written down. So today's topic is life is to be lived. Do not be afraid. I recently discovered that this phrase is written in the Bible 365 times, and there are 365 days of the year. Before I go on, yes, I quoted the Bible, but again, do not be afraid. You do not need to believe in God or Christianity or any other religion to receive the benefits of this phrase. I've rightly named this episode Life is to be Lived. And the reason I've named it that is because that's what this is all about. That's what all these episodes have been about, all these conversations that we've had together on any live calls that we've done together, and all these recordings, all these episodes are about life, is about living life. It's about being here and now, in the present moment, enjoying life, being human, getting curious about the fundamentals of being a spiritual being as well, and the deeper questions like how does life work and why do we do what we do? Why do we act in the way that we act? And like what makes us us? What makes us that bit of human, that bit of science that can't explain? Science can't explain, being human can't explain. There isn't a one thing that pins it all down. And so asking all these questions and talking in this way, and while it sounds like I'm talking in riddles 99.9% of the time, it's, all these metaphors and riddles, everything I am pointing to is pointing you back to the fact that you are here to live your life. You are here to have fun. You are here to experience the ups and the downs. You are here to experience what it is to be human, spiritual, religious, not religious, whatever it is. It isn't a conversation about how to live your life. It's a conversation about the definition, or yeah, the definition of how life works, like how we interpret life, that it's happening from the inside out, that things will happen in the world and we get to view it from our own little interpretation. The kids I look after, they have this competition homework where they have to do an artwork, and the title is Faces and Places. And it says at the bottom of the sort of instructions on how to do this piece of artwork, that it's down to each individual's children's interpretations of how they do faces and places, what that means to them and what they draw. So you can imagine from, reception through to year six, and if you're unaware of what ages that is, that's about 4 to 11, that the interpretations of what that title means and all those different drawings, they're going to be so different. They're going to be completely different ideas, different interpretations of what faces and places mean, what they look like, art abilities, you know. And that's what life is. It's like, okay, I'm on this spiritual journey, and this is what it looks like for me. This is what it feels like for me. And these are the words I'm going to explain it in. I'm going to use these words to explain it. Do not be afraid, or life is to be lived. These are the little one-liners I'm going to put on on my spiritual journey. Now you can take it and make it yours. You can like see it for yourself. What does it mean to you? Contemplate what if I can live my life and not be afraid? What if I can just live my life from a different space, from a space of trust? Because if you're not in fear, then you're trusting. I notice it as well with allowing the children that I look after, allowing them independence. Oh, can I pour my own milk? I'm like, oh, and all this fear kicks in because it's like, oh, what if they make a mess? And it's like, well, that's okay because that's part of living life too. So it's rather than fearing the mess, rather than fearing the disasters, fearing whatever it is, a circumstance, a feeling, sometimes a feeling of anger and upset and frustration and all the negative feelings, we can get really fearful about the things that make us human because for whatever reason we've sort of conditioned ourselves to believe that life is about being happy and positive. That, we have to just consistently be smiling, consistently be happy, consistently be grateful, and just always do these things. And then what happens is it leads to burnout. It leads to, well, I'm clearly doing it wrong and happiness wasn't meant for me. So I'll just stay as I am. And however that is, clearly not entirely content, not entirely seeing a deeper part of who you are. When we learn to trust and accept that inner space inside of us, that it's okay to feel those human emotions. All of them are okay. We don't have to fear them. We can trust them. If there's a uncomfortable feeling, we can trust that what that uncomfortable feeling is telling us is that we are human. And our thinking isn't maybe to be trusted in that time. That, if we're having those feelings, the thoughts we're going to be having aren't going to be very helpful. Um, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, if I'm feeling very overwhelmed and flustered, I can't make simple decisions, let alone difficult ones. So if you're getting those sort of feelings and you're feeling really, really uncomfortable on the inside, whatever word you put on it, angry, sadness, upset, overwhelm, stressed, whatever words you put on it, if that's what you're feeling, sort of the first step, if it's that, take that with a pinch of salt. But the first step would be to center yourself back. Who am I? How do I work? What is this feeling really telling me? Is it telling me I'm not good enough? Is it telling me I'm broken? Is it telling me I'm wrong? No? So what's it telling me? Is it telling me I need to rest? Is it telling me, and it's really that discernment, getting to know who you are. And I think we don't like society, I don't think is set up in a way that we get to know ourselves, that we get to know our own brain as human beings and what makes us tick and what calms us down. We don't sort of we spend the most time with ourselves because you can't run from yourself no matter how hard you try, and you can't get any closer to yourself because you're there. It's like trying to step into yourself, and it's not possible because you're already there, you're already yourself. But what we don't do is we don't get to know ourselves. We make friends and we socialize, or we go on dates and we meet people in a romantic manner, hopefully one person at a time. I just heard how I said that. But we go and meet these people and we ask them questions and, we get to know them. How are you? Who are you? What do you do? What do you like? What don't you like? Do you ever contemplate and wonder that about yourself? What do I like? What don't I like? Who am I? How am I? Do we actually take that time to sit with ourselves and meditate on how we're feeling And when I say meditate, that could be washing the dishes, going on a walk, being in the shower. It doesn't have to be sitting with your eyes closed in a meditative state. If that works for you, then by all means do it. But this is what I mean, that that living your life is living your life as you, not living how you think you need to be living, because there are just so many things out there. There are so many opinions, there are so many videos on what's right and what's wrong, the right parenting, the right way to make rice, the right way um to whatever, to wrap a present. I've even seen was all these videos on things. But I once read, I think this was in The Secret, was it? Yeah, The Secret or the Magic, one of those law of attraction books. And I'll have to find the reference and I'll put it in the information below. But in that book, they said that there was more than 250 different ways to wash the dishes. And I think as a teenager and growing up, I was always very much no, 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 there's only one right way. And that's my way. My way is the one right way that exists. And if anybody else does it differently, it's completely and totally wrong. And when I read that sentence, 250 different ways to wash the dishes, it really got me thinking. And, it's been a long time since I've read that book, actually, and even thought about it, but it's made such a profound impact on my life. It's like, oh my gosh, just because somebody does something differently doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different. It's just a different way. Sometimes when I walk to the same place that I always go to, I take a different route, just to keep myself on my toes. Oh, let's go this way. The map says I can still get to the same place if I go this way. So let's try it. Um, or if I go for a run, I don't like to go in circles, or I don't like to go back on myself. So I'd rather go in a really big circle back round again. So if I wanted to do 5K, then I'd know that, half of that is 2.5, and then the rest of it on the way back is the other 2.5, rather than doing the 2.5 and then coming back on myself for that remaining 2.5. Sometimes it doesn't fully work out, but it's just showing that there are different ways to get from one destination to the next. And it's the same with a spiritual journey. Like, it isn't a destination. You're not gonna, get to this highest point and suddenly be, oh my gosh, my life is perfect. And yet there is this space, this feeling inside where it's like, oh my gosh, my life is perfect. And it's very different. It sounds the same and it's the same words, but there's a different feeling to it. Like, everything is perfect. Whatever's happening, whether your human self agrees with it or disagrees with it, everything that is happening is the thing that is supposed to be happening in that moment. Even if it doesn't look right or feel right, it's just the experience that's happening. And when we argue against it, and there's that resistance, we're adding more suffering. We're adding that extra, it's like an extra task. We've just added another thing to it. So my favorite metaphor is the weather, because English people love to talk about the weather, and that, if it's raining, everybody's sad and miserable. And if it's sunny, everybody's happy and, happy and free, and oh, life is great. And that is not true. It's so not true. And I think I could talk for like 40 minutes on how that's not true, but I won't do that. But the metaphor with that is like, we can see that the rain doesn't cause us to feel a certain way. Um, I kind of lost my point on why I brought up the weather. My favorite metaphor. But it's that, that was it. So if the circumstance that's happening is that it's raining and we don't want it to be raining, we can resist against it and be like, oh, why is it raining for? So now there's two things. There's the present moment, there's the isness of life. it's raining. That the thing, the outside thing that you cannot control. And then there's your perception on that rain. And your mind tells you, oh, why is it raining? And then because of that thought that pops into your head, why is it raining? You then follow it on. It shouldn't be raining. So annoying that it's raining. Now I can't do what I want to do. And then all that energy goes all around your body and it just takes over all that frustration, that annoyance. It's completely taking over your body, your mind, your soul, and you're just radiating that resistance, that frustration. It just goes into everything. Somebody says something to you, and because you're already annoyed, you ran with that thought popped into your head, and oh, it's raining. I don't like that it's raining. It's ruined all my plans. And because you ran with it, you ran with that thought, it created a thought storm. And it just completely took over your entire body, your entire self, and your entire day. And that's how it happens. And it really looks like it's the rain because then what happens is when it's not raining, you then say, oh, thank goodness it's not raining. I can go and do X, Y, Z. And you feel happy that it's not raining. And then you go and you're happy, you're content that it's not raining. There will be other things that you find to complain about or to be annoyed about because there are other stories going on in your mind that tell you this shouldn't be that way, that the isness of life that is constantly happening. You know, this is the isness of life, and these are the thoughts that chatter in the back of our minds. Now, what I'm sort of guiding to is that this isness will always be happening, and this chatter will always be happening as well. It will always be there, but we don't have to listen to it. The same, the same way we don't have to listen to a toddler who is crying, screaming, or saying, "Mummy, I hate you." We don't have to listen to that and take it seriously because they don't know what hate is. They've just heard those words. So we don't have to listen to that chatter. So it's raining, same example. That chatter comes in. So a different interpretation of your perception, a different interpretation, a different road you can go down, a different direction. So it's raining, that's the isness of life, that's what's happening. You get the thought, oh, why is it raining? That's really frustrating. And then you remember, that's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. I don't want to feel frustrated right now. But I do feel frustrated because it's raining and I don't want it to rain. Okay, so who do I want to be in this moment right now? Do I want to spend the entire day frustrated or do I want to feel something else? Okay, it's raining, so what can I do instead? If I can't now, I don't know, let's say you were planning to go to the beach. And, hinder. Oh, do I go to the beach while it's raining and see what that's like? Go with my wellies and my rain and my umbrella and my raincoat. Um, or do I do something else? Do I sit at home, make popcorn and watch a movie? And there's this like really subtle line between like full on distraction, ignoring, and guiding another way. Because it isn't like, oh, look, there's a bird, and you're completely distracted. And then the minute you remember, oh gosh, it's raining, you feel pissed off again. It isn't that kind of thing. There's something deeper. There is something deeper about this guidance with your inner self that it's like, this is not who I am. If you've listened to my previous videos, then you would have heard the I am statement video. And you go back, and if you have written an I am statement list, or you've got one in your head, or at least a sentence, you can go back to that. Who am I? I am calm and peaceful. I am loving and kind. And that calm and peaceful person, that loving and kind person starts with you. So if the isness of life that is happening is something that you don't like, that's okay. You can freely express that you don't like the isness that is happening. You can freely express that. What you do next determines how much it affects your mind, body, and soul, because it all takes on an effect. And it isn't a matter of shutting down and dismissing emotions. It's a matter of connecting with those emotions much deeper and putting them to good use. So you're feeling angry, you're feeling this is way more serious than the weather, this isness of life that is happening. I cannot distract myself with popcorn and a movie. This is serious, this is real, this is life or death. Even in those spaces, you can find a space in you for gratitude, for love, for peace, for calm, and connecting with your emotions, connecting with what's happening, connecting with the life that is being lived through you. And when we do that, as a byproduct of that curiosity, that connection with yourself, that connection with your own emotions, with your own mind, body, and soul, as a byproduct of doing that, asking these questions, being connected, contemplating, and meditating with yourself, the byproduct is that you lead a much healthier life. Healthier, happier, calmer, more peaceful, and more fun. Like overall, living life becomes a lot more fun because it's like, oh, there aren't these rules, these boxes. I don't have to stay within the box. I don't have to stay within the lines, this confinement that I've put myself in. I don't have to live by this box that I created. It's not that that I can never be angry and I can never say that I'm feeling angry. Oh no, I can. I can say I feel angry. This really makes me angry. And then what you do next is up to you. Do you stay with that anger? And neither is wrong or right. Do you stay, do you go down the path where this rain is annoying and it takes up your entire day? Or do you go down the path of, okay, I'll go out in my wellies or I'll make some popcorn and watch a movie? And you go down a different path. And there aren't just three options. There's as many options as there are people on this planet because we all are just one thought away, one new thought away from a new idea, from a new feeling, from a brand new life, a completely different perspective. One simple sentence completely changed the way I saw things. 250 different ways to wash the dishes. And in the house that I grew up in alone, there was four of us, and all four of us washed the dishes differently. So I should have known. I should, I really should have known that just because something's done differently doesn't mean it's wrong. But I had it so set in my head like as a fact, as a truth. And we have these blind spots. We have these like on a car when or a truck, that's my favorite one. I'm a cyclist. So on the back of a truck it says, if you can't see my wing mirrors, or whatever they're called, I think they're called wing mirrors. If you can't see my wing mirrors, I can't see you. So cyclist beware. So the little yellow sign that says, cyclist beware, and it's hilarious. So I always go back a little bit so I can see their wing mirrors. So, like that truck, we have blind spots too. We live our lives and we can kind of see, oh, yeah, I do that quite a lot. And oh, yeah, that's probably a bit annoying, but it's fine. It makes me me. And yeah, I can, whatever. And you can kind of know who you are and how you do things and what you like to do and your little bits, and that you get curious about life or you're not curious about life at all and you're just living your life how you're doing it, and that's perfectly fine. But there are spaces, there are topics, there are people in your life, there are things like maybe the rain, maybe you disagree with me. No, what are you talking about? The rain is just rubbish. I don't like the rain at all. And there are these spaces that we just can't see. It's like they're completely blocked and we just can't see those areas. We see them as completely factually true. And so for the next couple of weeks or days or for the rest of the year, let's say for the rest of 2024, I invite you to really look, where can you see something different? Can you drink out of a different mug in the morning? Do you drink from a specific mug? Can you change that? Do you always use the same plate? Do you always do the same route to work? Can you do a different route to work? Can you get dressed and shower and brush your teeth all in a different order? Obviously, that makes sense to you. Don't overwhelm yourself. But can you just play? If you've got children, can you play at having a yes day? A yes day. I've done it so many times and it is so nice. I don't tell the children. If I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend telling the children. Um, but if you do tell the children, let me know how that goes because I'd be really curious to see what they ask for if they know that they're having a yes day. But I do secret yes days where what that entails is I say yes pretty much to everything. And I think I've done that properly twice, which resulted in ice lollies for breakfast. So that was fun. Luckily, they were homemade ice lollies, so they were fine. Um, but basically, it's saying yes to absolutely like as much as you can. I tried it today and I noticed a lot of resistance, and I said no quite a lot. So I will be trying it again. But yeah, so if you have to, and try it with yourself as well. Actually, I just realized I've never actually tried it with myself. So I'm going to play along too and find, so anything like blind spots with yourself that you just don't know, trying something different. Do you struggle with trying something different? Is it like, well, no, I've always done it this way, so it has to be this way. This is the right way, and this is the way I've always done it. So why change it? And I completely get that. And this is all about having fun. The whole point of this episode is that life is to be lived. So live your life in the way that makes the most sense to you. That is, the highlight of this video. But for the rest of this year, I really do invite you to play along with just getting curious. Can you do different things? Can you play the yes game with yourself, with your family, with your friends, with your children, if you have children? Whatever it is, can you do that? And can you get curious about the phrase, do not be afraid? Because being here as a human being, as a spiritual being, the whole point of life is to live from love and trust and peace and kindness. It isn't about being in fear. And we've really fallen as a society into a space of fear and distrust. We don't trust religion, we don't trust spirituality. We don't trust ourselves, we don't trust other people. There is a lot of distrust in this world. And so it really is just moving back into the space of not being afraid, of trusting, of loving, and knowing deeply that there is a higher power, there is this integral part of you, this wisdom space inside of you, that you're in alignment with that which created all of us. And whether you call it God or universal mind, like Sydney Banks named it, or the universe or source or energy or even just science, and you're happy with science and scientific evidence, even if that's suitable for you. But there is this power that lives through us, that breathes life into us and allows us to be here where we are, doing our thing and living our life. And so I invite you to play along with the game and to just try and experience moments of deep gratitude, really contemplate that discernment. Who am I? What does it mean to live my life? So I hope there was something helpful in today's video, and I will see you again in the new year. Lots of love and bye for now.